My name is Terrence Michael Rank, and I work with a company called Pro Rituals by Jingle. So as we approach this class today, everything's about blonding. We're going to be going through different blonding techniques, from ombres to balayage to breaking bases to highlights. But I really want to open your eyes and kind of give you a visual of a different way to approach the day, because I know a lot of times when we approach the day, you know, we look at our schedule, it says highlights, and we get caught into patterns. How many are patterns? Come on. We use the same blonde formula. We have the same low light formula. So realistically, if we had 6 colors at our disposal, we'd probably just use those 6. But somehow we need 100 million, you know? But the reality is we have certain ways we do highlights. We have certain ways we do lowlights. And we do them because they're safe. And we feel comfortable and we know the end result. So when I try to teach new techniques, I do them because I want you to feel comfortable with the end result. When you have a positive feeling about an end result, you'll do it. And that's the bottom line with things. So one of the things I always like to do before I even start is I want to understand hair together. Because understanding hair makes us all on the same page. And the key to hair is understanding, number one, what is hair made out of? Okay? Hair essentially is about 94 to 96% would be a protein. So it is said to be a keratin protein. Everybody agree with this? Mm-hmm. Should we Google it, or we're all good? Are we all good?
We're good.
Yes. We're all good. Okay. And the other 4 to 6% is called essential fatty acids. I've heard it called mucopolysaccharides, sugars. These are what create moisture and help give the hair the flexibility. So you have one that's made for strength and one's for flexibility and that moisture. Everybody agree with that? Okay, so there's always 2 components. So when you start looking at products on the market, you want to pay attention to those too. Now, how many of you use any type of keratin treatments? Keratin conditioners? Mm-hmm. Okay. So whenever you look at products, here's what you got to understand is that keratin can be also classified a couple different ways. Hydrolyzed keratin and keratin amino acids. You both have you seen both? So I always try to think of hydrolyzed keratin as a Band-Aid and keratin amino acids as stitches. Does that make sense? So one's going to give a deeper penetration or repairing technology, so to speak, where the other will just kind of mask it until you wash it the next time. So when you do purchase or buy product, kind of look for that, because amino acids are something that actually will bond to that chain, okay, because the hair is made of a polypeptide chain. Now the other thing hair has in it has ionic charges, which are both positive and negative. These help create the salt bonds. The salt bonds is what gives the hair the actual strength. If these are out of proportion, the hair becomes weaker, okay? So on top of that, the other thing it's all about is pH. Hair in its natural healthy state should be 4.5 to 5.5. If you can understand those main 3 keys I just talked about, you'll have a better understanding of hair, because now, once you know what hair is, then you can understand what chemicals do and what hair products do. And that's what really made me understand hair more thoroughly, is that, what is hair? And by knowing this, I can choose the proper ingredient to have a more positive result, especially when it comes out to blonding. Now, right now, the market is becoming saturated with new products that promise that no damage, or they're going to make hair feel better. What most of these on the market, if you start looking at them, are silicones. Now, I refer to hair that has a high pH as basically the hair is open. It's a door. So think of hair as three things: a door, a sponge, and a magnet. So if I have a strand of hair and it's open, it's allowing things to enter. So that would be a high pH or a more alkaline situation. The moment I turn on the shampoo bowl or the hose on the shampoo and put water on the hair, the average pH of water is 7.0. Hair, remember, 4.5 to 5.5 is natural healthy hair. So the moment I put water on there, what does it do? Opens up. So at that point, I'm already opening up the hair. So opening up the hair can cause what? Color loss, right? Fullness, frizziness, all that. So you got to keep that in your head. Now when we talk about hair color has a permanent oxidative hair color has a pH of roughly 8.5 to 11 on the pH scale. So we already know that the time we put hair color on hair, what's going to happen? We're opening up that door. So opening that door is going to allow that color to enter. When we close the door, it allows the color and any botanical ingredients to what? Stay in, stay in the hair. So the second thing I mentioned was a sponge. So hair, like a sponge, absorbs what? Moisture, water, liquids, product. So how many out here have a kitchen? A couple of you? A couple live in a car still? Everybody have a kitchen?
Yes.
All right. You ever spill water on the countertop?
Yes.
Right? So you're out of paper towels, you're like, oh, I'll use a sponge. So do you take a dry sponge and try to wipe up the countertop, or do you get the sponge damp, squeeze out the moisture, and then wipe it up?
Yeah.
Squeeze out the moisture. It absorbs what? Better. It also absorbs more evenly. Keep this in mind with hair for right now. Thirdly, as I said, hair is a magnet. So hair has both positive and negative charges. pH of products that are lower than 5 generally have a positive charge to them. Hair that has not been treated, maybe it's porous hair, maybe it's dried out ends, generally have a negative charge unless a product has been put in there thoroughly and distributed evenly, which is sometimes hard unless you put it in damp. So think about this, when you color hair, if I have a client comes into the salon with dry hair, I set them in my chair. Now I go back and I look at their formula and I'm like, Jan, S-A-M-E. I'll be right back. Right? Think about this. If I have a client with dry hair, I go to the back room and I mix my color and I'm coming to go apply. Number one, what's happening? I'm taking her hair, maybe it's 5, maybe it's healthy, but I'm going through and I'm going to put color on her root, and maybe she needs to touch up her gray and refresh her ends. When I pull that color through the ends, or if I mix a separate color to put on the ends, what potentially is going to happen? Who's ever had color that just does not take on the ends?
Yep.
Anyone? Think about this. Permanent oxidative hair color has a pH of approximately 8 to 11. What else does it have? It's negatively charged. So now, who's ever taken two magnets of the same polarity and put them together? What happens? They bounce off of each other. So now, think about this. When a color that is put on a head of hair, that also has a negative charge on it. You see what's happening?
Yeah.
This is a big challenge in our industry. Now, a manufacturer probably sometimes won't teach you what I'm going to teach you. Why? They want you to buy more color. Okay, so here's what you always got to figure out. Is the manufacturer helping you? Or is the manufacturer helping them? And that's what you got to decide. And that's a big challenge that I always had in the industry. I've worked for about 9 brands. And to me, it was like, I have nothing to lose. I only have things to gain in the industry. You know, I already got my credentials. You know, I've passed my ego, hopefully. But the thing is that now it's time to educate and pass on what you know to others. So as I started working within this new world of pH, I started building better clients. I had more longevity with my color services. I understood what I was doing. So what we tell people to do, number 1, clarify hair first. Step number 1. And what we have is it's called the color ritual. And can I use you for an example?
Sure.
Do you mind?
Oh,
Do you
sure.
want to step up here for a
Yes,
second?
please.
And just because you have smooth hair, but
Oh.
I'm going to have you sit here. First thing I like to do when a client comes in is I'll take a clean shear, nothing on there, and I'm not cutting or anything. So what I do is I'll go and find a space right up on the top of the head, and I'm going to go through, I'm not going to go this way, because what's that going to do? Cut her hair. I'll take the scissors and I'll go 1, 2, 3. And what I'll do is I'll scrape it and I'll go like this. Okay? So you see what I did? And you can see this over there. So the coloring of it is more white. So this tells me 2 different things. Either it's a buildup of hair product, could be silicones within her shampoo conditioner. She might be using a argon silicone infused product. Or she might have calcium buildup from her plumbing in her home. Possibly she's near well water. Everything varies. These are called environmental factors. So having a buildup on the hair creates a what? A shield on the hair. What is a shield on the hair going to do? Block color penetration. Okay? So number 1, you want to clarify hair. So that would be our step number 1. Clarifying hair. Our clarifier has a negative charge to it as well. So most of the times people are educated into thinking a clarifying shampoo is just a high alkaline shampoo and just blows the cuticle open to remove buildup. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks.
So sorry.
No, you're good. But if you really think about it, the pH, if you look at every one of our packages, it has the pH written here. It's 5.25 to 6.25. So is it slightly opening the cuticle? No more than water would. Actually, water will open it more than this would. So now you got to start doing the numeric math, we'll call it. So now I'm slightly opening the cuticle with a clarifying shampoo and with water. But because of the negative charges, remember I said in the beginning that most products with a positive charge are about under 5 pH. So that's going to attract to those positives and help pull them out of the hair. So now I'm helping cleanse or remove some of the buildup. Now, as we put water on the hair, what is water doing automatically? Opening the cuticle. Now there's a layer in the hair called the endocuticle. And the endocuticle actually will open and allow for better color penetration with moisture. Okay, endocuticle it's called. Okay. So now when I think about that, Now I go to my theory of a sponge. So if I apply hair color to slightly damp hair, what's going to end up happening? Better penetration of color. I'm actually going to use less color. Okay? Don't tell the manufacturer. So this all goes into part of the system. Now, prior to applying color,